Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss the second season of Gen V, the boys spinoff series. It's the college show, if you will. Before Brittany and I share our thoughts on the season, let me hit you with some Gen V facts. Let's start off. Like I said, it's a spinoff series in the boys universe set between season 4 and season 5 of the boys. Season 5 is the final season of The Boys. It's supposed to air sometime in 2026. I don't think we have a date yet for that. So, um, again, this is the second season of Gen V. Once again, had 8 episodes. Airs on Amazon Prime Video. The first 3 episodes released on September 17th. The finale was October 22nd. And the cast features Jazz Sinclair, Lizzie Broadway, Maddie Phillips, London Thor, Derek Liu, Asa Gurman, Hamish Linklater, Sean Patrick Thomas, and Ethan Slater. Now, Brittany, one person I didn't mention a part of the cast, of course, is Chance Perdomo. He tragically died in a motorcycle accident in March of 2024. They did not recast the character. They actually kind of created a story of how his character, Andre Anderson, died in the story of the show. And I want to get your thoughts on that to start off with. How do you think about what you think about how they handled the Andre Anderson storyline and the Chance Perdomo part of it, and as far as like trying to explain what happened to the character while also paying respect to the actor who passed?
First and foremost, I think it's great that Eric Kripke and company decided to not recast that role because in their minds, this was their Andre, right? Chance Perdomo was their one and only Andre. And I remember when the news broke about Chance and how sad it was that it was just a freak accident, basically. I believe it was, and I'm sure it put a delay with the writing or the rewriting of season 2, and for everyone to just cope with the news. So to kind of in a way address Andre's death in the very beginning of the season 2 premiere, but not give all of that information at once, I think was done very well because it wasn't just, we better address this now, quick one and done and move on. For the respect that was paid to Chance and to Andre's character, all of the characters in the show were just shocked, who obviously didn't know about Andre's death. They were shocked. And to finally get the details, I believe it was in episode 2, about what actually happened to him and portraying him as a true hero of wanting to sort of follow in Marie's footsteps. She escaped Elmira, which we'll obviously talk about later on, but she escaped a facility where these Supes, these kids were being held, and Andre was trying to use his powers to break open this door, and unfortunately it caused a stroke. We did see hints of him, as well as his dad Polarity, having health issues as a result of using their power so often. And so it made sense in a way that you overuse your powers, this is what it could lead to. But it was done tastefully, in my personal opinion. It wasn't rushed, like I said, to put the news out there as to what happened to him. It was also done very well to showcase that he died trying to save his friends, and therefore he died as a hero.
Yeah, I think you said it well, being tastefully done, because the one aspect that I like about it was that while they did tell us what happened to him, like you said, he died trying to escape Elmira and trying to free his friends. They do kind of mention it throughout the season. Obviously, his dad becomes a bigger character, whereas he was kind of like a recurring character in the first season. This season, he's like basically a main cast member, and um, I do like how it was almost like they had like a tribute. Almost every episode, there was some kind of reference to him. So in that respect, I liked it. But I do wonder, like, and I do think that his death, Chance Perdomo's death, obviously threw a big monkey wrench into the story of the show, because I wonder what the show would have been like had he not died. I
I
don't
agree.
I don't think it would have been like this. And Obviously, that's a tragedy. TV shows don't matter, but I couldn't help but think about that a lot throughout this season because to me it felt kind of disjointed. To me there was a lot of stuff that's convoluted. They see
Yes.
the same stuff kind of over and over, and I think that like they were trying to, because I mean Andre was a one of the main characters, obviously. The main
Yeah.
cast, Marie and Andre and Emma and Jordan and
And
even
Kate.
Kate, of course. That's like the main crew.
Mhm.
Take him out of the equation, there was a hole to fill, and I think they tried to do it as best they could.
Mhm.
I think it definitely, it was obviously, maybe a little bit too much for them to kinda overcome, whereas and I'm not saying they should recast. I don't think they should have recast. I think they made the right decision, but, yeah, I think that was just one like, that got the season started off on the wrong foot, obviously,
Mm.
because when
Mhm.
cast members dies, it's gonna be tough to kind of, go from there, and I think they did the best they could, but I just don't think the quality of the season was as good as the first season in a lot of many ways.
Yeah, I definitely agree because there's some definite holes with
Yeah.
the spoiler, y'all, if this is your first time joining us here on the Watchers in the Basement, we talk spoilers. So if you haven't already watched this season of Gen V, pause this pod, go catch up on Gen V, and then come back to rewatch this review. Leave us your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, we would love to chat with you about what your thoughts are for this season. So the the big reveal that Thomas Godolkin is still alive
Yeah,
somehow,
right.
some way. We don't know who was the one who found him. We don't know if this is something that even Vought knew about, or like, how did Thomas Godolkin and Sage connect? You know what I mean? So those are
Yeah.
questions I would like to have answered, and maybe they'll be answered in the boys. I don't know. But that was just kind of thrown into left field, in my opinion. But to back to your point about Chance, his passing, and then how that impacted Andre's character, and talked about his passing throughout this whole season. Again, I'm good with the idea that it wasn't just a one and done. It was addressed in episode 1, and we're just gonna leave that behind. It kind of, to me, that would have been a little bit of an insult to his memory and how he influenced the show, right? I do appreciate that, for example, it was Jordan's character who broke the news to Marie about what happened, and you could see just the pain and how much that impacted, their their life because they were really good friends, right? And even for Kate, when she learned what had happened, because she, granted, was cheating on her boyfriend, Golden Boy, with Andre. I mean, she also felt some type of way towards Andre. Anyway, my point is, I appreciate how it was handled, but definitely a game changer for whatever the original script might have been. Could it be, let's say, whatever Polarity's role in this whole season, could that have actually been Andre, where he was trying to the uh, fight his own power, right? To and not hopefully die. And maybe everything that happened with Polarity would have actually had happened to Andre.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that may have been the case. I think that was kind of done well because both Polarity and Andre were suffering from the same illness, having seizures as a result of using their powers. And with Marie leveling up, as we're going to call it,
Yeah.
learning how to manipulate the blood and remove the illness, that might have still that might still be the story, but it would just have been Andre as opposed to Polarity. Polarity might have died for all we know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have known what the original script was or
Mhm.
what the direction was going to be, but it throughout the season, yes, a lot of things felt very disjointed, but then also predictable, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
There were definitely some things that were just like, oh, that's that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, to me, the show felt smaller than the first season. It just didn't have, like it it felt like the cast was smaller, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that can be better, because if you're
Yeah.
not having to like serve so many characters. But to me, like I said, just felt like they did the same stuff kind of over and over. They were always getting like locked up and then breaking out, and then getting locked up and breaking out. It seemed like that happened a couple of times throughout the episode or the season. And to me,
Yeah.
it just kind of I don't know. It was like a side quest if you're a fan of the boys, and it's a side quest you can kind of skip. I mean, there are obviously there are highlights along the way,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It did not hit for me the way every other season of every other, boys show has hit thus far. And maybe I'm just older. Maybe it's because these shows are, take 2 or 3 years in between the seasons. And
Yeah.
the thing about the boys, which, obviously if you're watching or listening to us, the watchers in the basement, we are all about that superhero life. I especially am all about the superhero life. And like with DC and Marvel, I mean, I'm thinking about this stuff all the time, like literally all the time.
He
And with the
is.
with the
I work with him.
yeah,
He
and with
is.
with the boys, I'm just not. So
Yeah.
even though I love that show, and I've said before, the boys to me is like kind of been a perfect show. Every episode's been very, very good.
Yeah.
Um, Once it ends, I don't really think about it, and then it's like, and then I don't get another season for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't go back and watch season 4 of the boys, and I didn't go back and watch season 1 of Gen V to prepare for this season. So
Same.
maybe that hurt me, but I mean, to me, it's like it's hard to you can't really expect that from the audience. Like that's too much, and I don't know. It didn't connect with me like I thought it
Yeah.
would.
I like you, I did not rewatch the previous season of Gen V or season 4 of The Boys because I just didn't. Who has the time? Okay. In this economy, my goodness. But I don't think it really would have made a difference because when we left off the Guardians of Godolkin, if
Yeah,
you will, they were in a completely separate realm, presumably at Vought Tower.
right.
And then from there, it's, oh, they escaped Elmira, which is some sort of facility where the Supes are being tested. And it's like, wait a minute, how do we jump from Vought Tower to this facility that like what's and I guess because they did that so it would make sense as to how they broke out of the facility because virtually there was no door in the
Right.
room that they were in Vought Tower. So it's like
Yeah.
how would that be possible? So they had to make it possible, right? And give this really heroic story for Andre's character to die trying to save his friends. There's just no way that would have been possible within Vought Tower, of course, especially when you have Homelander there. And Homelander is in control, knows everything. Anyway, that's fine. I don't really think rewatching either shows
Yeah.
leading up to this particular season would have much impact on anything, truly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I want to get your thoughts on. Is how I mean, okay, I get it. It's a college show, so it's going to take place on a college campus. Somewhat, it has to, right? I get it. But to me, the how easily they returned to the university after what happened in the end of season 1, and how like by the end of episode 1 in season 2, or certainly by the beginning of episode 2 of season 2, they're already back on the campus, and it's like they're not even like they're just kind of cool that everyone's like cool that they're back. It's not as I don't know. I thought that was so like yeah, to me that was so
So
simple, and it was like I just don't think that's just not good. Like
so Justin and I both work in higher ed, right? And we've worked in higher ed for a very long time. When the numbers are down, Justin, they will accept anybody back.
that's
Okay. Let's be real. Money talks. Okay. Low enrollment. We're going to take anybody and everybody, right? Doesn't matter what crimes you may have committed on the campus. We'll take you back. But also, it's showing how much Vought is putting into the propaganda and how
yeah,
everyone is just willing to believe anything and everything that is said from this corporation, from Homelander, what have you, because you don't want to go against the grain, right? Because that will cause problems. And that's something I think we've appreciated about this show, that although it is satire, it does reflect a lot of what's happening in today's world that we as humans can relate to, right? It doesn't matter if there's Supes or not. Shit's going on in the world, and there's always two sides. You're either going to follow it or you're going to fight against it, right? And I think that's pretty much what the show was, or the season was kind of just showing in the respective, hey, the kids are back. They drafted something for them to say, and everyone forgives them. Carry on. The less attention on it, the better.
Pretty much. Yeah. So,
also, that PR person, what an unfortunate soup power with the stinger and oh my god.
Yeah, she had like the stinger like coming out of her butt, basically. I mean, this season, you had the girl with she could control her pubic hair, and she could like, you had the guy with his
black hole,
black hole, because he could like
store everything up there.
Butthole, yeah, just like they were really kind of going pretty hard, trying to like top what they've done in previous seasons. And to me, like that's also something where it's like it's hard to top what they've done.
Yeah,
and really, Gen V didn't even really do that much in the first season, because the boys every season they've topped it. They kind of had gross out moments, or they've upped the like odd superpowers and whatever the circumstances. But I feel like this season it was just like they were just like, okay, let's just do what's the craziest thing we can think of. And I mean, some of those characters it worked okay, but again, those characters I just mentioned were all pretty minor characters. I mean, I think the girl with the pubic hair maybe had the most screen time. You know what I mean? Like
there's a lot of screen time on something for sure. Right. My goodness.
Yeah, very strange. Sticking with the cast, and I don't really want to. We'll talk about the main cast members, the ones from season. Kind of their storylines or lack thereof in season 2. But let's talk about the newer additions and the characters who basically played the big bad or the big bads in this season. You had Hamish Linklater playing Dean Cypher, although we come to find out later in the season that he was being controlled by Thomas Godolkin, who is played by Ethan Slater of Wicked fame. So what'd you think about that reveal? The fact that you had this Cypher guy who, for several episodes we didn't know what power he had, and they determined he was human, and turns out he could then control the Supes, and then we found out someone was controlling him. And that guy is the guy who's the university is named after, Thomas Godolkin. And you're thinking, okay, well, this guy is now going to definitely be in season 5 of The Boys. He's mentioning how he, wants to, like basically cull the herd and only have these like superheroes who are going to be gods. And he talks about how, Homelander's made everybody weak, but then at the same time, it's like everyone has to team up to try to beat him, which is kind of a weird message. But the fact, what I'm trying to get to, Brittany, is like Thomas Godolkin fucking dies. Like he gets exploded.
Yes, he did
in this episode, or burned up, or honestly, I can't remember exactly how he died.
He like, it's not imploding, obviously, because it would have been within it. He explodes thanks to Marie leveling up with her blood control powers.
So, first off, what'd you think about the reveal of Godolkin controlling Cypher? The fact that Cypher's just some regular guy who's being like, he's like a puppet. And then the fact that Godolkin ends up dying, which I did not see that coming.
So first, I'm going to go back even further. Ethan Slater, just for him to be in this whole franchise is crazy to me, because prior to him being in Wicked, I had no knowledge of who this guy was. Obviously, I did read a lot that he played SpongeBob in this Broadway version of SpongeBob SquarePants, which I thought, this is weird and this is ridiculous, but hey, a job's a job. To each their own. Respect. So I cackled when I first saw him on screen as we didn't, well, did we see his badge and it said Godolkin? I think it did. But I cackled. I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. because obviously we're big fans of Wicked, and I just couldn't get past that. So the way that this season seemed very predictable, in my personal opinion. A lot is revealed, obviously, not just within the episode, but then when the recaps leading into the new episode. And this is the problem I have with the industry giving away too much so that people can come see the thing, whether it's the movie or the show or what have you.
Yeah.
So when we finally saw the charred body in the is it the hyperbolic chamber? I always say that wrong.
I think it's hyperbaric, but maybe
Hyperbaric.
I know it's
the
definitely
thing.
hyperbaric, but I don't know if he was. Yeah,
He's in the glass tube. Okay,
Right.
He's in the glass tube.
Right.
When we first saw him for the very first time, I'm like, this is Godolkin. And I remember saying that to you in the office, also talking with George.
Right.
I didn't have proof, of course. I'm like, that has to be Godolkin. Somehow he survived the fire that broke out in the lab when they were all taking what we found out later on was the first version of V. It's V1, which is the same one that Stormfront and Soldier Boy took.
Right.
It also enables him to never age. So he's like 100 years old, still looks like he's 30 something years old.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I figured that out early on without much proof, but I didn't figure out at all about him having the powers that controls not just humans, but other Supes as well, right? And Rick, who we work with, was the one who told me this theory about, I think the guy that's in the tube is controlling Cypher.
Yeah.
And what I'm like, well, how the hell did you even land on that? I was like, there was very little to go off of with developing that theory. And by I think the fourth episode, I'm like, no, that I don't see that theory coming into fruition. And then, the big reveal was, yes, indeed, he is the one controlling this whole ordeal. And it's absolutely wild. And that's fine that like the V that was the power that Thomas Godolkin was given. He wants to continue this Odessa project to, I guess, create the godlike superhero that will ever exist. So what, that he can control them for whatever reason, because he can't, I don't know. I don't fully understand that. But again, who found him? Who kept him alive? How did he connect with people and therefore with like Sage? And how is Vought not aware of this, if they're not aware of this? Right. Or is this just all a plot to throw us off? Kind of like what Sage planted information about the Odessa project so that Starlight could find out, therefore putting everything in motion, because apparently there's like this big plan that Sage had with Thomas Godolkin that he deviated from. And then it seemed like Sage was like, well, fuck it. He's going rogue. Whatever happens, happens. Like, she purposefully left that cell door open for Polarity after he was brought in. She purposely left that door open so that he could walk out and then do whatever needed to be done in order to take down Godolkin, right? I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead, but my point is there was a plan, but it's like, how did we even arrive to that point? Like, again, who found him? Who kept him alive other than Dr. Fielder? We did hear a name drop of Dr. Fielder, who was old, who somehow got in contact with Doug, Cypher. And that's how Godolkin took over his body. And it's been that way for the last 30 something years. So I have a lot of questions about Godolkin as a whole, but for him to be like, call the herd, we shouldn't have circus acts as Supes or whatever. I only want the best of the best. It's his whole thought process really still has me a little confused.
Yeah.
But for him to go out the way that he did it's actually pretty epic. I'm not going to lie, because his whole, as Cypher, having a special seminar for select Supes to push them, or pressure them into really unlocking their powers and seeing what they're capable of and continuing, I guess, the Odessa project, if you will. That was interesting, but I don't know. It all started kind of getting a little, like you had said earlier, convoluted, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But so he finally leveled up Marie when he and I thought, and this is how dumb I am. I thought his power was possession, not mind control. Because I remember saying that to John once it was kind of revealed that Godolkin has been controlling Cypher.
Mhm.
I looked at John and I go, so he possesses people? He looked at me, he goes, mind control? I'm like, got it.
Yeah.
I
I
had a
mean,
moment.
again, to me, the most surprising part is the fact that he died. I thought for sure he would be still on the board going into season 5 of the boys, and even here, like, so here's the thing. So this is season 2 of Gen V.
Yeah.
They do have a plan. I've read from Eric Kripke. He put out there that they do have a plan for season 3, but it's
Yeah.
not greenlit, so it may not happen if not enough
Yeah.
people will actually watch season 2.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like if you're killing off the founder of Godolkin University, the namesake for the
Mhm.
college, and you introduce him as like this, like he's like this big bad, and you're thinking
Mhm.
like why wouldn't you carry that character into the
Yeah.
boys? As much as he referenced Homelander, don't you want to see like a showdown between the Godolkin and
Yes.
Homelander? Even though
Yes.
like that stuff, I just don't understand why they killed him off so quickly. I mean, even like maybe you take him out to where he could return, for season 3 of Gen V if Gen V continues after season 5 of the boys. But I don't know, very odd choice. I thought to me, it kind of a wasted reveal. Like it's again, that's why I'm saying it. This season felt like a side mission that you can just
Yeah.
kind of skip. Um,
It
but
it was almost like a filler.
yeah,
What I will imagine to be a filler leading to the next season of The Boys. Which I liked Yesenia's comment here. Is Amazon Prime the new Netflix? Only 2 seasons? I'm like, well, certainly not, because The Boys has gone on into its 5th and final season. So who
but
knows?
no, I get her point though because
Yeah.
there are a lot of shows that don't make it past a second season,
Yeah.
and I do think a lot of it is because it takes so long in between the seasons. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I get these series are expensive and it takes a while to shoot this stuff, and we've had a lot of
Mhm.
different issues from the pandemic to
Mhm.
strikes in Hollywood, and that I guess they're still trying to like, eventually that won't be an excuse any longer. But I guess some of this stuff is, that
The
stuff is
delay.
still, yeah, still delayed by that. But I do think that like we lose the momentum of it. Like certainly I
Mhm.
do, where it's like
Mhm.
it just you can only kind of keep up with so many things in your head all the time. And
Yeah.
and for like I said, for this brand, the boys is an off brand. It's a
Mhm.
parody. It's a satire of
Mhm.
the Justice League or the Avengers, and it's a take on that on those characters. And
Yeah.
while it's very well made, very entertaining, it's not. We're not talking about Superman or Captain America or Batman and Spider-Man. We're talking about these like knockoff characters
Mhm.
that just to me, and I think a lot of people probably in this audience, don't care that much about really. Like that we like the story, but it's like, I'm not going home and like, buying a deep action figure. Probably not. Like
Mm.
if they're available, maybe I would. I don't know. But I don't know. To me, that's a big part of this of kind of why this season kind of fell short for me. But you mentioned a character. Or go ahead, Brittany. You want to say something?
Well, all I was gonna say too, for me, and maybe like you, getting older, and maybe my tolerance for certain certain scenes are becoming a little bit more limited, in the sense of the constant anal use of just things going up, up, out.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't understand the fascination behind it all. Like, with when the boys first did it, it was like, whoa, we're really breaking some sort of barrier here because that's just something you would never see normally on
Right.
a regular TV show or in a movie. And and even in The Boys, season 4, it was starting to get a little too much, and I'm just like, "Okay, we get it, this is what y'all do, but don't" there's no other way of saying this, "Don't shove it down our throats, okay?" Like, this is enough, okay? Herogasm was amazing. I
Yeah.
don't know how you top Herogasm. Honestly, I really, really don't. But then when you're seeing it also at the college level, which I understand weird things happen in college, a lot of experimentation, a lot
Not this weird. I don't think that.
not
Right.
yeah,
You know.
I stayed home. I didn't go away to college,
Well,
okay? I
I
stayed
don't think
home.
a ton of us like, 5 people came out like popped out of somebody's butt at a party. Like that's a crazy trick. If you can do that
Or
trick, then
shrink and go into someone's,
right.
pee-pee and what
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me now, and maybe again, I'm getting older, I don't need to see that every single season or every single episode, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to see that. You've made your point, you shocked, but now it's just becoming overdone, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm getting at.
I
And
I
maybe that's also why for me with the season, I also didn't really get into it that much. Not that I'm not okay, I don't know how to save myself from that, but I couldn't really
uh,
get into this season because there's just so many other factors, and that
I
was
get it.
also a big factor.
I think it's like I said, they're doing these like gross out things, trying to top what they've done in the past.
Yeah,
But there's also like I think they think it's funny, and I think
and that's fine.
at a certain point, like it's
It's just
not
too much.
it's not super fun. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
this season had a really weird moment that let's just talk about it now, where Cypher is having a very important discussion with Kate while he's watching this like UFC style fight between Jordan and Marie, who by the way are a couple together, but they're forced to fight each other. This is like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So Kate is trying to talk to Cypher. Meanwhile, Emma is she's shrunk into like little cricket mode and she's in the toilet trying to she
Get
got
out.
into the pipes trying to get out.
Yeah.
So in mid conversation, a very important conversation between Kate and Cypher, he tells Kate, "Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom." And then he goes in there like to, drop a deuce. And you see the guy take his pants down, and you see like the bowl angle of his like, him sitting down, and you're just like, "Do we really need to see
I
that?" Like
saw a
that
lot.
yeah, it's like that was such a weird like
Yeah.
but even just like the moment, like where it's like you're in a very important conversation, all of a sudden it's like, "Well, I gotta go to the bathroom." And it's like, to me, it just like came out of nowhere. It just felt so like uh it didn't feel like honestly, it's
Yeah.
not a real show,
Genuine.
but it just felt like okay, well, we've scripted some weird moment that's kind of our gross out, quota for the episode. I just thought it just didn't it wasn't good. It wasn't
I
good.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it took me
I
out of it.
agree.
It made me like go like, s what a weird decision at that
Well,
moment. Like,
and then with the pledge baby who was assigned to Sam at one point, with the
yeah,
leash and the diaper, and he's coming out of Black Hole's butthole, and I'm just
yeah,
like, "Enough already. We get it.
yeah,
It's enough. I don't I don't need to
yeah.
see this."
You know,
Also, fraternities. What are y'all really doing?
um, despite all that, I do like a lot of the characters in the show. I think the actors did a really good job for the most
Mhm.
part. I have to say though, the character that I thought was the most annoying of the season, and she didn't even come into play until late in the season, is Marie's sister. Like
Annabeth. Yeah.
Marie's sister, who we saw her as a kid a little bit in the first season.
Yep.
Marie got her powers, and when she got her powers, she killed her parents. A
Yeah.
total accident, right? Well,
Yeah.
and then of course the sister blames Marie for the parents' death. Okay, so we finally get to meet this girl in current day, and
Mhm.
lo and behold, she has powers also, right?
Yep.
So instead of like kind of understanding what happened to her sister, no, 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 she's got to be the annoying, like, oh, you killed our parents. And it's like,
Wee,
don't
wee,
you
wee.
like honestly, I was hoping that that character would die. I was like rooting, like she was
Damn.
so ungrateful, like from the
You came
second,
close, though. You came
yeah.
close.
And I was just like, can we get rid of this character? Because this character is such a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was such a like I think the season would have been better if he didn't have that character.
It was such a brat-like mentality,
Yeah.
right? This, oh, you killed my parents and I want nothing to do with you. But her soup power is some sort of ability to see the future,
Right.
which she saw as a child
Right.
of what would happen to her parents, and she still blames Marie. So it's like, okay, so your guilt that has eaten away at you because you didn't speak up, you didn't say something, maybe it wouldn't have changed the future at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you deal with people who can foresee the future, it's kind of like the time machine situation. It just doesn't always pan out. It doesn't work out well. But she rather blame her sister for the parents' death than to take responsibility and say, but I saw this coming. Whether or not it was inevitable is a whole other question.
Yeah.
But she carried that for years, right? Let's say 15, maybe not 15 years, but like 10 to 15 years. And that's easier to deal with than anything. But her powers obviously are not developed because she doesn't want to be a soup, right? She doesn't want to be the thing that she hates her sister for, right? And yeah, she was really, really annoying. And then when everyone's back at Elmira, that's when Marie is reunited with Annabeth, who is in a cell. It looks like they're going to be able to make a breakout really easy. They go and stop at Annabeth's cell, and her throat is sliced open, blood everywhere. Marie is leveling up and is able to heal her sister, save her, and they escape, right? So I was like, oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, like, now seeing what we got out of this character, I wouldn't have been upset if that character stayed dead.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously her purpose is the fact to show that Marie can bring people back from the dead. She can heal people. She helps Kate get her powers back late in the season. Like she's
Mhm.
basically the be all end all, which I think is cool, but also like if she's to me, I think it'd be strange if she's like the ace in the hole in the boys
Mm,
season 5 because she's not a character from the boys. You know, like
yeah.
she's in that world, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that's too easy of an answer. I don't think she will be the
I don't think
what
she will
takes
be
down
either.
Homelander, but
No,
she
no.
might be like the person who like heals Butcher or something or
Somebody who is going to be able to take out
right.
Homelander.
Because we know that Butcher has terminal,
Yeah.
terminal form of cancer.
Yeah.
And by the time the show starts, I think it'll be around the time where he's probably on his last days potentially. So
Well, season 5 of The Boys is supposed to take place 6 months after the events of season 2 of Gen V. So
okay.
we'll see how
Yeah.
that develops with
Yeah.
the newfound resistance of the kids with Starlight, A Train, because we did get to see them at the very end of the final episode. It looks like they're just going to merge as one. So yeah, I don't think Marie will be the end all be all with Homelander. I think she plays a role, but it's not going to be that role, because I do believe the war is between Butcher and Homelander.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so. I think you're right about that. Let's talk about some of the other characters. Obviously, Marie Moreau is the main character in the Gen V show, but let's talk about Jordan because obviously she is very much he is very connected to
They.
to Marie because
Mhm.
they're in a relationship in the beginning.
Yep.
They break up at the end.
Yep.
What'd you think about Jordan's like season arc with Marie and maybe what's next for that character?
I don't know if I have much of an opinion truly. It just shows the struggles of what it's like being in a relationship where one is more ready than the other, right? And whether it's just reservations of commitment, because that's a real thing for people. Obviously, committing is a huge deal. But for Jordan to be put onto this pedestal as the number one Soup in God U and have these endorsements and has like this incredible influence to pretty much self-sabotage
Mhm.
to take the heat off of Marie for what had happened with Kate because they all kind of confronted Kate and attacked her. She nearly dies, if you will, in that alleyway or the back of the gas station or whatever the case was. And Jordan feels some type of way. Maybe in their eyes, taking the approach of Andre of trying to be like the hero, right? But there's struggles along the way. The cage match between Marie and Jordan obviously did not help because Jordan did express that they thought Marie was going to actually kill them during that whole ordeal. And so I'm sure there's trust issues, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about Jordan's arc. It's kind of funny because it's almost like the Huey Annie situation where it's, they were together, but they each are fighting towards the same goal, but then they can't be together. And it's like, why are we like reflecting this with Jordan and Marie? I don't, you're together, but you're not together. Make that make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your
I think
thoughts?
no, I think you nailed it. I think it was just they're just trying to come up with some kind of like storyline because this season didn't have a ton of like a lot of the characters didn't have their own stories. Like even think about like Sam, like he had a moment where he went back to see his parents. That was a very brief kind of storyline where we find out that it wasn't so much the V that was the problem. He was just kind of a problem child anyway. Is what we kind of learned that his
There's family history
yeah, his family
of
history and temperament, like
mental
right.
mental
So
illness.
that was kind of his like little kind of solo storyline. I don't think Emma even had a solo storyline at all. Like she was
No. Well, she was kind of trying to
with
form a resistance with those two other girls.
okay, there you go. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so she
Yeah,
did.
and
Yeah,
then
Harper and yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
and Allie, I think, and
yeah,
then the brother of one of the girls she
right,
looked like maybe she was into.
right. Okay,
So,
you're right. I
yeah.
yeah, that was a part of the season. I just
It's
like
just
Emma.
it wasn't so grandiose.
Right, right. It was just kind of like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I said, there's so much the season where it just feels like you're watching the same episode over, like because
Mm,
they're constantly being in, they're captive. They're being put into cells and they're breaking out of cells, and it just to me like it was so repetitive. It's like, come on, like
mhm.
let's do something
But
different.
again, showing the great influence that is social media or propaganda in general and how quickly people would turn, right? With Kate,
Yeah,
she was attacked by her quote friends, but they also felt some type of way towards her because she turned on them earlier,
right,
got them sent to Elmira. She tried to make it up to them by saying, "Hey, being at school is the safest place right now."
right,
Okay, sure, we'll go with that.
yeah,
And they still don't trust her. She's attacked. She nearly kills no, did she kill? She killed people at the hospital for sure. But she loses her power along the way, right? Because it's a head injury
right,
and whatnot. And her power is by touching someone, she can influence whatever they do. And that was the bulk of her story is that she can't use her power to help, and she's trying to redeem herself for her bad deeds, and no one's trusting her, Marie. But then at the very end, Marie forgives her, I guess you could say, and heals her, in her powers and
mhm.
uh, what have you. It's like, okay, great, all is well, happily ever after, the end. But yeah, I don't. These characters, you mentioned earlier about having a lesser amount of characters, and I really don't think that. I think we got more characters and more people we had to learn and more stories
More,
that
not more that were main characters. You know,
okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there were
Yeah.
more people on the field,
Yeah.
but only a couple of them had the ball. You know what I mean? Like,
This is true. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But I will say one of the side characters that we ended up getting, however brief, was oh god, I can't think of the actor's name, but he was like some sort of keeper of records at the university
Oh,
when Polarity and Emma go downstairs to try to find info about Godolkin or the Odessa project or what have you. And he help me out here. What
the
was
Rememberers was his
the
name.
Rememberer?
Yeah,
Yes, it was. He had a show, and it was something that Emma, who is high off of something, high off of Xanax or something like that.
right.
Um, she was just so thrilled. I love that scene. I love that interaction. I thought it was really funny. It was really like that whole thing was crazy. You know, what developed at the very end with the secret room and the records and all this other stuff, and then Emma like blowing up giant size, and she's having to like hide her boobies, you know, from Polarity, and it was just
Yeah,
that was all really funny. But yeah, to your point with, you know, lots of people on the field. It
yeah,
was kind of hard to keep up with it at some point,
yeah.
especially in the last episode when Thomas Godolkin is bringing in these failures of Supes to his seminar, and he's calling out for Vance, like, Vance, where's my next class? Vance. And I'm like, who the fuck is Vance? Like, where did he come from?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the seminar room, and it's kind of like the training room for they're trying to test these soups, and like I said, trying to level up certain characters. And what do you think about this? I was just thinking about this a second ago.
Okay.
For a show like again, I kind of complained about how like it seemed like okay, you bring them back to the campus for season 2 because it's a college show, it's got to be on a college campus. But really, like, did they utilize the college aspect that much this season? Because they were kinda just in the same locations, like,
Yeah.
they didn't really.
Dorm.
Yeah, dorm and then the
Um,
seminar rooms and then just kinda out on the quad, right? Like,
the frat house,
okay. It just
because
seems
there
like
was
they could've done a lot of this stuff and not been on a
the
college
dean's house
campus.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't like,
Yeah.
even though we know it's a college show, there wasn't a whole lot of college to it, I didn't think so, you
No,
know?
not really, because the beginning of the season, Marie is on foot, right?
Yeah,
She's broke out of the facility. She's trying to get by on whatever little money she has, and eventually another soup is trying to locate her and what have you, and that's like at a motel. Starlight meets her there. There's
yeah,
gas station. Yeah, there were a lot of things that were happening off campus, especially like
right,
when Marie reunites with that family friend of theirs who lied about Annabeth, saying, "Oh, I don't know, I haven't talked to her in years," and she has a whole room, a whole
right.
bedroom for Annabeth. Okay, yeah, not a whole lot on campus. On campus, I think there was maybe one other classroom that was shown with that teacher who has like wings or something, and she was talking about social media
Oh, yeah,
influencing something or
yeah,
other. And Emma's just like, nah, I'm out of here. Bye.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even just like like cameos by the characters from The Boys. To me, season 1, the boys' characters were actually characters in the show. Like, Homelander was a character in the show.
Yeah.
Ashley was a character in the show. This season, like, obviously Sage probably the biggest role from that show. And I'm still honestly not clear, like, what Sage's plan is. It seems like she's, like,
Yeah.
playing every angle,
Yeah.
but I don't see how she's gonna win either. And I obviously I don't think she's gonna win. But, like, let's just talk about the cameos by the boys' characters because they're not really in the show that much. We got the
No.
Deep, we got Black Noir briefly, we even got Stan Edgar to return briefly with
I was actually
Zoe.
excited about him. I
Yeah,
was genuinely excited about him.
right. We also got I think maybe Starlight had the most
She
screen
had like
time.
2.
Yeah, we got A Train, we find out he's a part of the resistance with Annie. Um, what'd you think about the cameos from the boys' characters in the season?
It's fine. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess they have to tie it back into the boys at some point because again, whatever is happening in this season is going to feed into what's happening in season 5 of the boys.
mhm,
And once that wraps, I'm sure the events of season 5 will bounce back into what may be season 3 of Gen V. So
right.
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I
Let's
guess
yeah,
to keep it relevant and to keep it the world connected, that's you could just kind of have to throw in those cameos here and there because yeah, you just have to be reminded that this is part of that same world.
yeah. And that's a good transition to talk about like what's next for the boys and for this show and just this whole world. So we do know the boys season 5, like I said, it's coming up in 2026. That'll be the final season of the boys. We know that there is a boys prequel series, Bot Rising, which will star,
Yes.
will feature Stormfront and Soldier Boy amongst other characters. But again, that's a prequel. We know that the boys Mexico is still in production. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but that's still in production.
Low
So
key forgot about that one.
right,
Sorry.
but with this show kind of leading into season 5, we don't know how season 5 of The Boys is gonna end. I mean, I think we're all pretty interested in that, but
Yeah.
again, we don't know how that's gonna end. But d let's say Butcher and Homelander kill each other or something. That's just my guess. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. And, um, do you wanna see a season 3 of Gen V? Do you think there's enough meat on the bones, so to speak, that we need to see this show continue? If there's no boys show to point to in season 3, do you wanna see a season 3 of this show?
I don't I don't think so, and I think it just wholeheartedly depends on how season 5 of The
Yeah,
Boys ends, whether it's the complete downfall of not just Homelander, but Vought as a whole, right?
right.
Or is it the downfall of the current 7, even though there's not 7,
Mhm.
and we're bringing in a new era of the 7 to bring back the good name that is Vought, or they're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like Vought
Yeah,
died together, the current 7 die altogether, and you're bringing in the next era of superheroes, right? And then in a way you could bring it back to Gen V season 3 somehow, but I don't
right,
know what would be the big bad that would warrant having a season where the Supes are gonna have to like fight. Who are they gonna fight, right?
right.
Unless it's you still have those who are diehard, uh, Homelander, supporter, sympathizers, whatever you call them, and what have you know what I'm saying? Like, because
Yeah,
there's always gonna be a split party of factions, right?
right.
So I don't know what will obviously happen in season 5 that could lead to having a season 3 of Gen V, unless it's just, like I said, shepherding the new era of
Yeah.
superheroes.
No, I'm with you. Again, it's a kind of an impossible question to answer because we don't
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen, but I honestly, I don't wanna see a season 3, whether it's I mean,
I don't
even if
blame you.
there was gonna be a season 6 of The Boys, I don't think we need to see a season 3. I
Yeah.
do think that your idea is a good one, whereas, like, let's say, Vought is completely destroyed in The Boys season 5, right? And The Boys are also taken out of the picture. Then maybe season 3 of Gen V can be almost like a new beginning for superheroes. Like, now, like, instead of us being the knockoff evil Justice League, we're now gonna form a legit superhero team, and that's gonna start from the ground up. That's gonna start at the college ranks, and
Yeah.
maybe that could be a way to go. But again, like you said, I don't know who the big bad would be for that, or who's the antagonist for that situation. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think I'd be okay if we're done with Gen V
Yeah.
and we can just focus on the prequel show, and then
Yeah.
if that boys Mexico show ever happens, which obviously I'll need subtitles. That'll be a subtitle show for me. If they're speaking full on Spanish the whole episodes, or every scene is in Spanish, that'll be a tough one for me to keep up with, but I will try.
Justin,
Yeah.
in the words of Bad Bunny, you've got 3 months to learn Spanish for the halftime show at the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
okay? Like,
But
you've got
yeah.
time to learn Spanish. I believe in you,
Yeah,
okay?
well, I took Spanish in high school and college, and I learned it well enough to get a passing grade. So, yeah, so we'll see how that goes as far as, if that show happens.
That's funny.
But yeah, it sounds like the world of The Boys is gonna continue even though the Boys main line show is gonna end in 2026. So, Brittany, as we kinda start getting toward the end here, is there anything else from the season that you wanna mention that we didn't touch on?
I think we pretty much hit on all the high points of what this season gave us. for me personally, it just left a lot of questions, and it's the questions I would like answered as
Yeah.
to who the hell knew that Thomas Godolkin was alive, how they kept him alive, how he was able to track down his next puppet that was known to us as Cypher. His real name was Doug. Lovely man from what we got of him after he was he was relieved of Thomas Godolkin in his head. He had a great moment with Polarity in the car talking about Andre. To your point made earlier about Andre was kind of just remembered throughout this whole season. The last thing I actually do want to mention about Andre, Justin, is that in the final scene of the season where uh, the kids meet up with Starlight, Emma's actually wearing Andre's sweatshirt. Where she would have gotten it from, I don't know, but she was wearing his sweatshirt. It's that gray sweatshirt. There was some like black design on it or what have you,
Okay.
but I saw it somewhere on social media where it's like Emma was still like keeping Andre close, because she obviously developed a closeness to Polarity,
Yeah.
and she begged him to come with them to escape God U because he's like, Vought's coming. I don't know how to go on in life without Andre, but I'm going to do it. So he's taking a stand. He's going to defend the kids, and for her to like tearfully hug him and say, Andre would have been so proud of you. It was like, oh, like that's just really, really
Yeah.
sweet. So I do appreciate once again that the writers took the time to tastefully, as sad as it is, kill off a character, but to still keep like the
Yeah.
memory alive. Because
Right.
even Marie, when she killed Thomas Godolkin in the fabulous fashion that she did, it was right in front of Polarity, and she looked at him and she's like, "That was for Andre." And
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, like I said, they had a lot of tributes to that character and that actor. I did not catch on to that sweatshirt part.
I didn't
So
either, but thank
yeah.
you, social media.
So yeah. One thing I want to mention before we get out of here is, I told you like Sam didn't have a ton to do this season besides like kind of burst into walls and then kind of be sort of jealous about Emma's new guy who's like maybe not even her
That was
guy,
actually
but
kind of funny. That was
yeah.
actually kind of funny.
But
Yeah.
to me, didn't you find it strange that he never mentioned his brother? Wasn't he like, did I forget something? But wasn't he like seeing his brother in his visions? Like, Luke,
He
right?
used to, but when the kids were found by Stan Edgar, and he takes them all to his bunker and what have you. Emma and Sam are having a conversation where it kind of is basically Sam's like, "Hey, maybe we can get back together in the future or something," because he
Yeah,
says, "Hey, I found out a lot about myself, and I'm on medication that seems to be working. I'm not having the visions that I used to have before, and this and that, what
gotcha.
have you." So that was kind of just like the way of saying, like, I moved on from that. Like, I'm not, therefore, not seeing Luke, because I think part of why he was seeing Luke was just anger or guilt of some kind, because Luke obviously knew that he was still alive and he was just, in the wilderness, as they called it, or the woods or whatever it
The
was called.
woods, yeah, the woods.
And the wilderness. But I think that was just to kind of keep that connection and that be relevant, because we got Luke for such a short amount of time in season 1,
Right.
and Sam having to cope with his brother's death, but he also had like a lot of anger built up in him. So,
Yeah.
but again, Sam told Emma, "Hey, I found out a lot about myself, family history. I'm on medication, like I'm doing better." He seemingly was better
Mhm.
after he had left his parents' house. Loki was very scared for his dad when he pushed him the way that he did. I was like, "Oh my god, he killed his dad." Dad seems to be okay. Yay, yay for Papa Reardon. Um, but that was maybe just the gist of it.
Mhm.
Sam was given a box of all his baby things, and that was it. There was nothing more. There was nothing more than that the family kept.
Yeah.
Um, I did appreciate that his father seemed to be genuinely excited that he was there and wanting to spend time with his son, whereas the mom was a little, unsure.
Right.
And it's like, y'all are the ones to blame. Y'all are the ones that shot up your kids with V and was hoping for something, but then you unknowingly injected V into a child who has a whole other set of concerns,
Mhm.
and it just enhanced it. I think
Yeah.
was it Stan Edgar who said with the V, it kind of reacts to the body, and like the V could make a good person better, and then V could make a bad person worse, or something like that. Or maybe I just heard
That's
that from somewhere
from
else.
Captain America.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's the first Avenger. That's Stanley
Uh,
Tucci's character. Yeah, he's like
it probably still
yeah,
applies. It
good becomes
probably
great,
there we
bad
go.
becomes worse. Yeah. No, that was better. The super
When
soldier
the when the
serum is
worlds collide.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No, I mean I get it. I get it.
that's
Because
funny.
there's a fake Captain America in the boys world,
Yeah.
Soldier Boy. So I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
That's all,
don't
folks. Thanks for
don't
watching our pod.
don't besmirch Dr. Erskine.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
The
I love you,
Tooch.
Stanley. I'm sorry. I love you, Stanley Tucci. Please,
The
please
Tooch.
come on our
Yeah.
pod one day.
Also, Captain America: The First Avenger. We have not done a review of that, but one day we will, because that is one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorites. Every
Well,
time
he also just became a papa for the very first time. So
Chris
shout out
Evans,
to
yeah,
Chris Evans.
he did. Yeah, I saw that today too on social media.
Yep.
But no, Captain America: The First Avenger. Every time I see that movie, it gets better. So one day we will find an anniversary or reason to discuss that one. So there's still a few Marvel movies we haven't reviewed. We've seen them all billions of times, but
Yeah.
as far as reviews, we haven't done all of them, but we will at one point or at some point. I think that about wraps it up with the boys with Gen V season 2 from the world of the boys. That's what I was trying to say, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brittany, now that everyone knows what we think about season 2 of Gen V, we want to know what you think about it, and how can they let us know?
Well, first and foremost, shout out to Yesenia for joining us in today's live chat to discuss season 2 of Gen V. We always appreciate your support and your comments. It does make our time here reviewing so much more enjoyable, because we love the engagement with those who take the time out of their day to join us and share their thoughts, ask their questions, etc. So we encourage everyone, of course, to join us for our next live chat, which I believe will be tomorrow, Justin.
That's right. Tomorrow evening, Amber and I will be wrapping up The Haunting of Hill House. Last week we did the first 5 episodes. This week we're doing the final 5. Very good show. It's on Netflix. Came out in 2018. And we'll be closing the book on The Haunting of Hill House tomorrow night. So please join us. We're getting very close to the the special day of, the biggest day of the spooky season. That's the reason why we're reviewing this show, is because of its ties to the supernatural, and obviously it's a horror show. So be sure to join us tomorrow for the conclusion of The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes. And while we do encourage everyone to join us for all of our live chats, we understand things happen, you miss out, but we do invite you all, of course, to leave your comments in the comment section down below, and we will be more than happy to answer back. Also, if you haven't done so already, take the time to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're getting close, people. We need your help to get there faster. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you've also enjoyed this review of Gen V season 2. And also don't forget to hit the notification bells. That way, the next time we go live, which will be tomorrow. And lastly, we also have all of our social media links in the description box down below, and as well as our Spotify information. You can check out our audio podcasts, like I said, on Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts and several other platforms. So be sure to give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating.
That's right. Thanks, Brittany. Appreciate it. So for Brittany, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.